The bar had that familiar smell of cheap beer, fried food, and regret. It was the kind of place where people came to drink away bad decisions, and tonight, Mike fit right in. He sat hunched over a whiskey glass, staring at the ice cubes as they melted into watered-down disappointment. Across from him, Tom took a slow sip of his beer, waiting for Mike to speak. "You ever just know something's wrong but try to convince yourself you crazy?" Mike finally said, his voice rough. Tom set his beer down. "What happened?" Mike let out a short, bitter laugh. "Lisa's been cheating on me. With her boss." Tom's eyebrows shot up. "Wait. Lisa? Your wife Lisa?" "No, Tom, my imaginary wife Lisa," Mike snapped, then immediately sighed. "Yeah. My Lisa." Tom shook his head. "Damn, man. You sure?" Mike exhaled sharply, running a hand over his face. "I had a feeling for months. She started dressing different. Staying late at work. Guarding her phone like it was the damn nuclear codes." He clenched his jaw. "But last night, I finally got the proof." Tom leaned in. "How?" "She left her phone on the nightstand when she went to shower. Normally, that thing never leaves her side. So I looked." Tom winced. "Damn. What did you find?" Mike tightened his grip on the glass. "Everything. Messages. Hotel receipts. A conversation where she told him she couldn't wait to feel him again." He swallowed hard. She wasn't even trying to hide it. Tom cursed under his breath. "What did you do?" "I waited for her to come out of the shower. She was all relaxed, humming some song, completely unaware." Mike let out a dry chuckle. "I held up her phone and said, 'How long?'" Tom's eyes widened. "And?" "She froze. Then she tried to play dumb." "What are you talking about, babe?" Mike scoffed. "So I read her one of the messages. Word for word." She went pale. Tom shook his head. "Let me guess. She denied it?" "Oh yeah. First, it was it's not what you think. Then it was just a mistake. Then she hit me with the classic it didn't mean anything." Mike's voice turned cold. "Like you accidentally sleep with your boss for months." Tom let out a slow whistle. "So what now?" Mike set his drink down carefully. "I'm not gonna yell. I'm not gonna cry. And I sure as hell ain't gonna beg." He looked up, and for the first time that night, a smirk played on his lips. "I'm gonna make her and her little boyfriend regret every damn second of it." Mike barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, all he could see was Lisa's face when he confronted her. The way she froze, the flicker of panic before she tried to play dumb. Then the pathetic excuses, each one more insulting than the last. "It was just a mistake, babe. It didn't mean anything." Like hell it didn't. People don't sneak around for months over a mistake. By the time the sun came up, Mike had already made up his mind. He wasn't going to yell or beg or break down. No, that would be exactly what Lisa expected. She probably thought he'd drown himself in booze, cry for a week, then forgive her like some weak little man who couldn't live without her. She had no idea what was coming. Mike sat at the kitchen table, sipping his coffee, watching Lisa move around the house like nothing had happened. She was getting ready for work, same routine as always. Blow-drying her hair, picking out an outfit a little too nice for a casual office day, spraying on perfume she never wore for him. She glanced at him once, testing the waters. "Are we gonna talk about last night?" Mike took a slow sip of his coffee, holding her gaze. "No." Lisa hesitated. "So, what does this mean for us?" "For us?" Mike nearly laughed at the audacity. It means I've got a lot to think about, he said, keeping his voice neutral. That seemed to satisfy her, because she gave him a cautious nod before grabbing her purse. Okay. Well. I'll be home late. Big meeting today. Big meeting, huh? More like a midday hotel hookup. Sure, Mike said, smiling just enough to make her nervous. As soon as she walked out the door, he got to work. Mike wasn't the kind of guy to rush into things. He believed in patience, in strategy. And this situation? This needed a damn good strategy. First, he needed intel. He wasn't about to just take her phone again, that was sloppy. Instead, he went deeper. Lisa had always been bad with passwords. She reused the same ones for everything, email, bank accounts, even social media. And Mike? He was the one who set up half of them. It took less than 5 minutes to get into her email. And oh, what a goldmine it was. Flights. Hotel reservations. Cancelled dinner plans with Mike that she had replaced with work events. And the best part? A whole thread of emails between her and Greg, the boss she was screwing. Mike read through them, his blood boiling. Greg, I can't wait to see you tonight. Booked the suite, same place as last time. Lisa, God, I need you. I swear, being home with Mike feels so fake now. Greg, soon, baby. I promise. Mike sat back, exhaling slowly. All right. Now it was real. This wasn't just a physical thing. This wasn't just a one-time slip-up. Lisa had already mentally checked out of their marriage. But that was fine. Because now, Mike had leverage. First order of business, Greg. Mike spent the next few hours digging into the guy's life. It wasn't hard. Greg was one of those idiots who overshared everything online. Married. 2 kids. Lived in a massive house in the suburbs. His wife, Rachel, was the perfect doting partner, always posting pictures of their happy family. Mike smirked. Oh, buddy. You have no idea what's coming. He printed out copies of the emails, saved screenshots of the hotel confirmations, and even found an old invoice from Lisa's work expense account, an expensive dinner she'd classified as a client meeting. Yeah. That was gonna be useful. By the time Lisa got home that night, Mike was back at the kitchen table, drinking a beer, looking perfectly calm. She hesitated in the doorway. Hey. Hey, Mike said, not looking up. She lingered, clearly expecting some kind of explosion. But when he didn't say anything, she exhaled in relief and went upstairs to shower. Mike smiled to himself. She thought he was letting it go. She had no idea the storm that was about to hit. Mike didn't waste time. If he was going to do this, he needed to do it right. No rushed moves, no sloppy mistakes. He wasn't about to let Lisa or Greg walk away from this unscathed. By noon, he was parked outside Greg's office building, sipping a black coffee and watching the front doors. He'd done his research. Greg's schedule was painfully predictable. At exactly 12:30, he always left for a business lunch. More like a no-wanna with Mike's wife. Sure enough, right on time, Greg strolled out, dressed like every other corporate sleazeball, tailored suit, smug grin, thinking he was untouchable. Mike felt his fingers tighten around the steering wheel. Not for long. As Greg stepped into the parking lot, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, smirked, and typed something back. Probably texting Lisa. Mike's phone buzzed too. A message from Lisa. Hey babe, super busy today. Don't wait up for me, okay? Love you heavy black heart hash. Mike let out a short, bitter laugh. Love you. Right. Greg got into his car and pulled out of the lot. Mike followed at a distance, heart steady, mind clear. He wasn't the jealous husband chasing a guy in a blind rage. No, this was precision. This was strategy. Greg drove straight to a hotel. No hesitation, no checking his surroundings, just smooth, practiced routine. Mike parked a few spots away and watched as Greg strutted inside like he owned the place. 5 minutes later, Lisa pulled up. She glanced around, then hurried inside, thinking she was being discreet. Mike snapped a photo. Then another. Evidence. Lisa and Greg thought they were clever. Thought they were in control. They had no idea what was coming. Mike spent the next few days putting everything in place. He wasn't just going to destroy Greg. He was going to annihilate him. Step 1: expose the affair. Mike compiled everything: emails, hotel receipts, text messages, the photos he took. Then he created a neat little package and sent it anonymously to Greg's wife, Rachel. Step 2: a professional destruction. Greg wasn't just some random manager. He was a VP of sales, which meant he dealt with clients, money, and, most importantly, corporate ethics policies. Mike found exactly what he needed in Lisa's emails. Greg had used company funds for at least 2 of their business trips. Fraud. Misuse of corporate funds. Grounds for immediate termination. Mike drafted another email, this one for Greg's company's HR department. He attached the proof, added a polite message. Thought you should know what one of your executives has been up to. Might want to check the expense reports. Have a great day. Then he hit send. And just like that, Greg's world started to crumble. By Friday, Lisa was acting different. More on edge. She kept glancing at her phone, checking her messages. Mike played dumb. You okay? He asked over breakfast. Lisa forced a smile. Yeah, just work stuff. You know how it is. Oh, he knew exactly how it was. That night, Mike got a text from Tom. Dude. You need to check Facebook. Now. Mike opened the app. The first thing he saw was Rachel's post. To everyone who thought we had the perfect marriage, it turns out my husband, Greg, has been screwing his employee for months. To Lisa, you trash. To Greg, don't bother coming home. The comment section was chaos. Greg's friends, family, co-workers, everyone saw it. Mike smirked. Showtime. Mike had been waiting for this moment. He could already see the cracks forming in Lisa's perfect little world, and now, it was time to tear it apart completely. The first sign that things were unraveling came on Saturday morning. Lisa was up early, pacing around the living room, her phone practically glued to her ear. Mike sipped his coffee, pretending to read the news on his laptop. In reality, he was listening to every word. Greg, please, just call me back, she whispered harshly. We need to talk about this before Monday. I don't know what the hell is going on, but Rachel is posting crazy shit online, and I. She stopped mid-sentence, her face going pale. She had noticed Mike watching. For a split second, real fear flashed in her eyes. Mike set down his coffee. Something wrong? Lisa forced a smile. No, just work stuff. Work stuff. He almost laughed. Lisa fidgeted. I think I'm gonna go out for a bit. Clear my head. Mike nodded. Sounds like a good idea. She hesitated, clearly unsure whether he was being sincere or mocking her. Then she grabbed her keys and rushed out the door. Mike waited exactly 10 seconds before pulling out his phone and opening the tracking app he had installed on her car the day before. She thought she was running to Greg for help. Mike was about to make sure Greg had nothing left to offer her. Lisa drove straight to Greg's house. Typical. Mike parked a block away and watched as she knocked frantically on the front door. No answer. She knocked again. Nothing. Then, the garage door suddenly opened, and Rachel stepped out. Lisa froze. Even from a distance, Mike could see Rachel's expression, pure, ice-cold hatred. Rachel folded her arms. "You really have some nerve showing up here." Lisa stammered, I just need to talk to Greg." Rachel smirked. "You mean my soon-to-be ex-husband?" "Yeah, he's not here. Guess he figured out screwing his employee wasn't worth losing half his assets." Lisa's mouth opened, but no words came out. Rachel stepped closer. "I saw the messages, Lisa. All of them. I know every disgusting little detail." "And now?" "So does his boss. So does HR. And so does everyone in our social circle." Lisa took a shaky breath. "Rachel, Rachel spat in her face. Mike's eyes widened. "Damn. Get off my property," Rachel growled. "Before I do something we'll both regret." Lisa turned and practically ran back to her car, wiping at her face, humiliated. Mike smirked. Oh, he wasn't done yet. Lisa came home that night looking like a ghost. Mike was waiting for her at the kitchen table, sipping a beer. "Good talk with Greg?" Lisa flinched. I don't want to talk about it." "Really?" Mike set his beer down. "Because I feel like talking." Lisa swallowed hard. "About what?" Mike leaned back. "About how you threw away our marriage for a guy who just dumped you the second things got messy." Tears welled up in Lisa's eyes. "Mike, please. Now you care about my feelings?" Mike laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Tell me, Lisa. Did you care about my feelings when you were sneaking off to hotels? Did you think about me at all while you were screwing your boss?" Lisa's lip trembled. "It wasn't like that." Mike slammed his fist on the table, making her jump. "It was exactly like that." Silence. Then, in a small voice, Lisa whispered, "Are you going to leave me?" Mike stared at her for a long moment. Then he smirked. "No." Lisa's head snapped up. "You not?" "No," Mike repeated, standing up and grabbing another beer from the fridge. "I'm going to make your life a living hell first." Lisa's breath hitched. "Mike?" He walked past her without another word, heading upstairs. Tomorrow, he would ruin her career. Lisa had no idea that when she walked into work on Monday morning, it would be the last time she ever stepped foot in that office as an employee. Mike had made sure of it. He had spent the entire weekend putting the final pieces of his plan into place. The downfall of Greg had been satisfying, but it was just the beginning. Lisa was next. She had humiliated him. Now, he was about to return the favor, tenfold. Lisa walked through the front doors of her office, head held high, trying to act normal. But inside, she was a wreck. Greg had disappeared, no calls, no texts, no answers. Rachel had eviscerated him online, and now Lisa was left alone, scrambling to keep her life from falling apart. She just needed to lay low, act professional, and hope no one at work found out. She was dead wrong. By 10 a.m., Lisa knew something was off. Co-workers were staring at her. Whispering. Looking at their phones, then back at her. Her boss, Mark, barely acknowledged her when she said good morning. Her heart pounded. What the hell is going on? Then, at 10:30, her office email pinged. Subject, urgent, please report to HR immediately. Lisa felt her stomach drop. Her hands were ice cold as she stood up, legs shaking. As she walked to the HR office, the whispers behind her grew louder. She knew something terrible was about to happen. And she was right. She stepped into the HR conference room, and Mark was already there, sitting across from the head of HR. Their faces were stone cold. Lisa forced a smile. Is something wrong? Mark slid a thick folder across the table. Lisa opened it. And her entire world collapsed. Inside were copies of her emails with Greg. Screenshots of their explicit texts, hotel receipts, and company-paid expenses for their little meetings. There was even a formal complaint from an anonymous source, accusing her and Greg of fraud, ethical misconduct, and gross misuse of company funds. Lisa's hands trembled as she looked up. Mark's expression was pure disgust. You used this company's money to fund your affair, he said coldly. This isn't just unethical, Lisa. This is criminal. Lisa's mouth went dry. I didn't. HR cut her off. Effective immediately, you are terminated. Lisa gasped. Mark leaned in, voice low. Security is waiting outside. Pack your things and get out. Tears burned Lisa's eyes. Please, Mark. Don't, he snapped. You did this to yourself. 2 security guards stepped inside, their presence final and absolute. Lisa had no choice. She had lost her job. Mike was sitting at home when Lisa stormed in hours later, her face red from crying. She slammed her purse down. You did this? Mike leaned back on the couch, sipping a beer. Did what? Don't play dumb, she shrieked. You sent those emails. You got me fired. Mike smirked. I didn't do anything, Lisa. You did. You and Greg made your bed. I just made sure you got to lie in it. Tears streamed down Lisa's face. You're ruining my life. Mike took another slow sip of beer. No, Lisa. I'm just evening the score. Lisa screamed, grabbing a glass from the counter and hurling it at the wall. It shattered, pieces flying everywhere. Mike didn't even flinch. You're a monster, she sobbed. Mike stood up slowly, towering over her. You think I'm a monster? His voice was dangerously calm. You didn't think that when you were sneaking around behind my back? When you were lying to my face every single day? Lisa collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. I was stupid, okay? I was selfish. I know I messed up. But please, please stop this. Mike stared at her for a long moment. Then he laughed. A dark, humorless laugh. You think this is over? Lisa's breath hitched. Mike leaned in. You took everything from me. My trust. My love. My marriage. Now I'm going to take everything from you. Lisa shook her head violently. Mike, please. Mike grabbed his car keys. Pack your bags, Lisa. I'm filing for divorce. And with that, he walked out. Mike had never felt more in control in his life. Watching Lisa's world crumble piece by piece was almost poetic. But he wasn't done yet. Not even close. Destroying Greg had been satisfying. Getting Lisa fired? Even better. But now it was time for the final act. Lisa had taken so much from him, his trust, his love, his dignity. Now, he was going to strip her of everything. Lisa was still sitting on the couch, her face buried in her hands. Mike stood in the doorway, watching her. She looked small. Weak. A far cry from the confident, lying woman who had once looked him in the eye and told him it didn't mean anything. He almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then he remembered every lie, every excuse, every moment she had made him feel like a fool. And just like that, all the pity disappeared. You have 2 hours to pack your things, Mike said flatly. Lisa's head snapped up. Her eyes were red, swollen from crying. Mike, please, she whispered. We don't have to do this. We can fix this. Mike tilted his head. Fix what, Lisa? A marriage? The one you torched the second you spread your legs for your boss? Lisa flinched as if he had slapped her. She took a shaky breath. I know I messed up. But you don't have to throw me away like this. We can go to therapy, we can. Mike laughed. Loud. Cold. Heartless. Therapy, he repeated. You think a few sessions with some overpriced shrink is gonna undo what you did? Lisa blinked rapidly, her lip trembling. I love you, she whispered. Mike's smile disappeared. No, Lisa, he said softly. You love not being alone. You love the security I gave you. The lifestyle I built for you. But me? He leaned in, his voice deadly calm. You haven't loved me in a long time. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Please. Mike took a step back. 2 hours. Then I want you out. Lisa let out a choked sob, but she didn't argue. She knew it was over. Mike didn't leave the house while Lisa packed. He wanted to make sure she didn't take anything that didn't belong to her. And almost immediately, she tried. He heard the sound of zipper teeth ripping together too forcefully, like someone was stuffing way too much into a suitcase. Mike walked up the stairs. He wasn't surprised to find Lisa in the bedroom, throwing clothes into an expensive designer bag, one that he had paid for. Beside it? A jewelry box. One filled with every necklace, bracelet, and pair of earrings he had ever given her. Mike leaned against the doorframe. Where do you think you're going with that? Lisa jumped, spinning around. I need something to sell, she stammered. I don't have a job anymore, Mike. I have bills, rent. Mike smirked. Not my problem. Lisa's eyes flashed with desperation. Mike, come on. You can't just kick me out with nothing. I was your wife. You were my wife, Mike corrected. Now, you're just another woman who screwed around and lost everything. Lisa's nostrils flared. So what, you just gonna let me be homeless? Mike shrugged. You should have thought about that before you let Greg take you to all those hotels, he said. Lisa's face contorted with rage. She grabbed the jewelry box and clutched it to her chest. I'm taking this. You can't stop me. Mike took one step forward. His voice dropped so low, so cold, it made her shiver. Put it down. Lisa froze. For a moment, she actually looked scared. Slowly, she set the box back on the dresser. Mike nodded. Good girl. Lisa glared at him. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Mike's smirk returned. You have no idea. An hour later, Lisa was standing in the driveway, her suitcase beside her. She looked at the house one last time. The house Mike had worked so hard to pay for. The house where they had once been happy. Now, she was leaving it forever. Mike stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Lisa swallowed. This is really it? Mike nodded. This is it. Her lip trembled. Where am I supposed to go? She whispered. Mike stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled. I hear Greg's got a lot of free time now. Maybe he can take you in. Lisa's face twisted in humiliation. Mike stepped back inside and slammed the door in her face. Lisa had never felt true fear before. Not like this. Not standing outside the home she had lived in for years, completely alone, with nowhere to go. The house, the life she once took for granted was gone. And the worst part? She had done this to herself. Lisa's hands trembled as she pulled out her phone. Who could she call? Her parents? No. They had always loved Mike. If they found out why he kicked her out, they'd disown her. Friends? She barely had any left. Over the years, she had distanced herself from them, too busy with her secret life with Greg. Greg. Lisa swallowed hard, staring at his contact on her phone. She had no choice. She hit call. 1 ring. 2. Voicemail. Her chest tightened. She tried again. Straight to voicemail. Panic settled deep in her gut. Greg wouldn't ignore her, would he? She tried texting. Greg, please. I need to talk to you. Nothing. I lost everything. I need you. Still nothing. Lisa's breathing grew ragged. He was ghosting her. Just like Rachel said he would. Her vision blurred. Her hands shook. She had nowhere to go. As later, Lisa found herself sitting in her car, parked in a dark lot behind a cheap motel. She had spent the last of her money on the room. Her credit cards? Frozen, Mike had them cancelled. Her bank account? Nearly empty. She had no job. No home. The realization hit her like a truck. She had gone from a perfect life to nothing, in less than a week. Tears rolled down her face as she curled up in the stiff motel bed. For the first time, she truly regretted everything. Mike, on the other hand, was thriving. For the first time in months, he felt free. No more worrying about where Lisa was, no more doubting his gut, no more being made a fool of. His only regret? Not doing this sooner. That night, he slept better than he had in years. And Lisa? Lisa was living her own nightmare. At 3 a.m., Lisa's phone buzzed. Her heart leapt. Was it Greg? She grabbed it, hands shaking. But it wasn't Greg. It was a blocked number. Lisa hesitated, then answered. Hello? A deep laugh came through the speaker. She froze. That laugh. She knew that laugh. And then, a voice. Rachel. How's rock bottom treating you, Lisa? Lisa's blood ran cold. Lisa's entire body went cold. She gripped the phone tighter, swallowing the lump in her throat. Rachel. She whispered. Rachel laughed softly. You sound scared, Lisa. Lisa's hands trembled. What do you want? Rachel sighed dramatically. Oh, Lisa. I don't want anything. I already took what I wanted. Lisa squeezed her eyes shut. She knew exactly what Rachel meant. Her marriage? Gone. Her job? Gone. Her reputation? Destroyed. Rachel had helped Mike tear her life apart. And now? She wasn't done yet. Lisa forced herself to sit up in the stiff motel bed, gripping the sheets like they were the only thing keeping her from falling apart. I don't understand, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Rachel chuckled darkly. Oh, honey, she purred. That's the best part. You don't have to understand. You just have to watch. Lisa's stomach twisted into knots. What was she planning? Then, her phone buzzed. A notification. Lisa hesitated, then pulled the phone away from her ear. Her breath caught in her throat. Rachel had just sent her a link. A link to a video. Lisa's fingers shook as she clicked on it. The screen loaded, and her entire world crumbled. It was her. Her and Greg. The video wasn't just some random clip, it was security footage. Taken from the hotel lobby. It showed Lisa and Greg walking in together, laughing, touching, disappearing into an elevator. Timestamped. Dated. Undeniable. Lisa's vision blurred. How did you? Rachel cut her off. You really thought you could just get away with it, huh? Lisa couldn't breathe. The hotel had cameras. She and Greg had been so careless. Rachel had gotten the footage. And now? She had sent it to everyone. Lisa's phone exploded with notifications. Text messages. Emails. Calls. The damage was spreading. Lisa opened Facebook. She shouldn't have. But she had to see. Rachel had posted the video. Publicly. Her caption? For everyone who ever thought Lisa was a good wife. Enjoy the show. The comments section was ruthless. Oh my god, what a trashy homewrecker. This is disgusting. She deserves everything coming to her. Guess she's homeless now lol. Lisa couldn't stop shaking. She had lost everything before. But now? Rachel had made sure she would never recover. Mike, meanwhile, was watching the chaos unfold. He sat at his kitchen table, scrolling through the comments on Rachel's post, sipping his coffee like it was just another morning. His phone buzzed. It was Tom. Dude. You see this? Mike smirked. Oh yeah. Rachel went nuclear, man. This is crazy. Mike took another sip. She just did what needed to be done. Tom sent a bunch of laughing emojis. Remind me never to piss off a woman scorned. Mike chuckled. Rachel had been brutal. But honestly? Lisa deserved every second of it. Lisa turned off her phone and curled into a ball. Her entire body shook violently. She had nowhere to go. No money. No friends. And now? The entire world hated her. Lisa had thought rock bottom was losing her job. She had been so wrong. Rachel had just dug the hole even deeper. And there was no way out. Lisa's world was in free fall. The video was everywhere. She had already lost everything, her home, her marriage, her job. But now? Now, she had lost her dignity. The world knew what she had done. And there was no coming back from it. Lisa couldn't leave the motel room. Everywhere she went, people stared. She had seen it herself, the way strangers looked at her. Like she was trash. Like she was nothing. Because now? She was. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing. Calls. Texts. But not from people offering help. From people who wanted to watch her suffer. Unknown number, hey, homewrecker. How's that motel bed treating you? Unknown number, I saw the video. You looked real comfortable with Greg. Still comfortable now? Unknown number, I guess karma's a bitch, huh? Lisa threw her phone across the room. It hit the wall with a sickening crack. Her breath was coming in short, sharp gasps. She couldn't breathe. She needed money. Fast. But where the hell was she supposed to get it? Her accounts? Frozen. Her credit cards? Cancelled. Her job? Gone. Lisa dug through her purse, searching for anything. She found $43. $43 to her name. It wouldn't even cover the next night at the motel. She was out of time. Lisa swallowed her pride and did the one thing she swore she wouldn't do. She called her parents. Her mother answered on the second ring. Lisa? Lisa's voice broke. Mom. A pause. Then, her mother's voice, cold. We heard what you did. Lisa's heart stopped. Mom, please. Her mother cut her off. You destroyed your marriage. You cheated. You lied. And now you want us to help you? Lisa felt sick. She had expected anger. But this? This was worse. I have nowhere to go, Lisa whispered. You made your bed, Lisa, her mother said flatly. Now lie in it. And then, the line went dead. Lisa screamed. Mike, meanwhile, was doing better than ever. His lawyer had already drawn up the divorce papers. By this time next week, Lisa would be nothing but a bad memory. And her? She'd still be drowning. Exactly where she belonged. Lisa was desperate. And desperate people did stupid things. She had one person left to call. Greg. Even after everything he owed her. She hit dial. It rang. Then, he picked up. But it wasn't Greg. It was Rachel. Lisa's stomach dropped. Wow, Rachel mocked. Still calling my husband, huh? Lisa's throat closed. Where's Greg? Rachel laughed. Greg, she purred. Oh, honey. Greg's gone. Lisa's hands shook. What do you mean, gone? Rachel sighed dramatically. I mean, after I ruined his career, his reputation, and took every last cent in the divorce, he skipped town. Lisa felt dizzy. No. No, no, no. She needed Greg. He was the only person who could help her. And now? Now, he was gone. Rachel's voice dropped to a mocking whisper. Guess you picked the wrong man, huh? Then, click. The call ended. Lisa dropped her phone. And for the first time, she truly realized. There was no one left. Lisa had nothing left. No home. No money. No family. No Greg. No future. And now? Now, she didn't even have her pride. Because the entire world had seen what she did. And the entire world had turned its back on her. She spent the night in the motel, curled up in a ball, staring at the wall. She didn't cry anymore. She didn't scream. She just existed. Numb. Empty. Ruined. Morning came, but it didn't matter. Lisa had nowhere to go. She had barely enough cash for one more day in the motel. After that? She was homeless. And the worst part? She knew she deserved it. Lisa didn't know why she did it. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was one last, desperate hope. But she found herself in front of Mike's house. Her old house. Their house. She stared at it from the sidewalk, her body frozen. The home where she had once been safe. Where she had been loved. Where she had destroyed everything. Her hands shook as she knocked on the door. She knew it was pointless. But she knocked anyway. A moment later, the door swung open. And there was Mike. Standing tall. Strong. Happy. Lisa's heart twisted. Mike? She breathed. Mike raised an eyebrow. Lisa. A beat of silence. Then, Lisa's voice broke. I have nowhere to go, she whispered. Mike tilted his head. And? Lisa swallowed, eyes pleading. Please. I'll do anything. I just need a place to stay. Just for a little while. Mike chuckled. A deep, cruel chuckle. You really standing on my doorstep, begging me for help? Lisa's eyes burned. Mike, please. Mike's smirk disappeared. You made your choice, Lisa. He took a step closer. You threw away our marriage. Another step. You lied. You cheated. You humiliated me. His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. And now you want me to save you? Lisa shivered. I was stupid, she whispered. I was selfish. I wasn't thinking. Mike cut her off. No, Lisa. You were thinking just fine. You just didn't think you'd get caught. Tears slid down her cheeks. I don't know what to do, she admitted, voice shaking. Mike leaned in, his face just inches from hers. You could have had a good life, Lisa. His voice was low, firm. You could have had a husband who loved you. A home. Security. Respect. Lisa's breath hitched. And instead? Mike's lips curled into a smirk. You ended up with nothing. Lisa let out a choked sob. Please, she whispered. Just, give me one more chance. Mike studied her for a long moment. Then, he smiled. All right. Lisa's eyes widened with hope. You mean it? Mike nodded. Of course. Then, he reached into his pocket, and pulled out his phone. Lisa's brow furrowed. What are you doing? Mike's smirk grew. Calling the police. Lisa's heart stopped. What? Mike leaned against the doorframe, casual, calm. You trespassing, he said simply. Standing outside my house, making a scene. I'd say that's loitering. Maybe even harassment. Lisa's stomach dropped. Mike, no, please. Mike pressed the call button. Lisa panicked. She turned and ran. Mike watched her stumble down the street, broken and desperate. And for the first time in a long, long time, he felt peace.